I think so. I think it's working now. Maybe. Let's see. Before we get started, I realized something from last week seems to be catching on. I was just scrolling through social media right before I started, seeing if there was anything else that was coming out. I guess I should check one last time. But I saw somebody post some AI video of people saying that they were ready to die for Jeffrey Epstein and that it was Operation Epstein Fury. I was like, I said that like a week and a half ago. Like, where's my credit? I coined the term Operation Epstein Fury. I mean, it wasn't hard to make up, so I can't say that anybody actually stole it, but I mean, I didn't get credit, that's for sure. Unfortunate. Is there any good news on this apparently impending attack? Whoa! China found my kick. That's incredible. Greetings, China. Ni hao. We'll hop right into it. There's a lot to cover the day. Big day. Huge day. Ooh, we're a little low. It's about where it's supposed to be. So, today is Tuesday, April 7th, 2026. This is episode number 83 of Addressing the Issues. I guess happy Power Plant and Bridge Day to those who celebrate. Or Taco Tuesday. Hopefully it's another Taco Tuesday, but we never know these days. I mean, I hope he chickens out on this. This is looking really bad right now. We'll get into that in a second. But yeah, it just looks terrible. This isn't looking like a good situation at all. I guess we all should have seen this coming, that however this goes, it's not a good situation, but it seems that the developments in the last couple of hours are making it worse and worse, scarier and scarier. But, at least Operation Epstein Fury has been coined before the end of the world. I forgot who posted it, but it was hilarious. Truly hilarious. But that's what it is. This is Operation Epstein Fury. Obscure the Epstein files with a global global conflict. But we'll get into it. So, apparently right now Trump is in heated negotiations as time is running out for a deal. I guess we'll go through the sequence of events, in a sense today, at least how I witnessed them. So the first thing I see this morning is Trump's Truth Social post. It reads, "A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. However, now that we have complete and total regime change where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail, maybe something revolutionarily wonderful can happen. Who knows? We will find out tonight, one of the most important moments in the long and complex history of the world. 47 years of extortion, corruption, and death will finally end. God bless the great people of Iran." What a statement. I guess we can break it down a little bit. He seems to be wanting to wipe an entire civilization off the map. That should be truly horrifying to anyone. And then, talking about how it's going to be a moment in the history of the world. Not a good omen. Typically, things that make history are rather notable. I don't want to see a rather notable war, even more notable than the one we're already in. But then at the end, obviously, as he has in all of his recent posts, he invokes God in some way, invokes religion into this war. I don't understand how. Yesterday it was Allah. Today it's God. I mean, it's disturbing. I would call this the devil's work. I would call war the devil's work, but that's just me. I don't think that God has anything to do with the wars you're starting, the death and destruction you're bringing. But I guess when you have the White House spiritual advisors going around telling you that you are the second coming of Christ, you feel the need to invoke God in these things. That's why I said they need to get that one girl out of the White House for forever. Whatever that spiritual advisor girl is, incredibly evil. She has lost the plot. And pumping up Trump in this sense, in these stakes, is just not something that ever needed to happen. He's always had a big enough ego as is, but to further that in this situation, it's incredibly negligent. I would call it evil. But, we're going to end 47 years of death with more death. Congratulations, welcome to the golden age. This is just, it's ridiculous. And this whole thing is ridiculous. It's getting more and more ridiculous by the day. And we'll see that later in the episode. But then the next thing I see of note on social media is there's an Israeli newscast, channel 13 in Israel. They're sitting there at their news desk with a countdown timer on the front of it. It's counting down to 8 p.m. Eastern time today. On the front desk, front and center of the newscast, it looks like the New Year's Eve countdown, except for, New Year's Eve starts a new year, and this is a bombing campaign that's likely going to cause kill a lot of civilians. We'll get into that also in a little bit. Actually, we'll get into that next, but there's a timer counting down until the strikes begin, and this is put on news media like it's some celebration. I guess for some people this is a celebration. This is better than New Year's. This is better than a NASA launch. It is a countdown clock to 8 o'clock, which is rather worrying in my opinion as to how this will result, because it does seem more and more every day that Israel has more influence over our government than the U.S. citizens do, which is alarming in so many facets. So this countdown clock is just, it's absolutely absurd that they are celebrating this, celebrating death and destruction of people. I don't know how evil you have to be on board with that. Treating it like it's some, it is a historic event. It will be, not for any of the right reasons, but it will be a historic event, and we're celebrating the countdown to death and destruction on television like it's normalized. Like this is a normal, good thing that we're about to go bomb Iran to the Stone Ages, as it's called. I don't know. I guess some people get off of this. Namely Lindsey Graham. You can't go a whole week without putting a shot at Lindsey Graham these days, or taking a shot at him, but my goodness, he's asked for it. He's asked for it time and time again, And now we're exactly where he wants us, in another war in the Middle East, his favorite national pastime. But yeah, the whole clock thing, countdown to strikes on Iran, completely absurd, completely evil. But that's our greatest ally right there, absurd and evil. But in the meantime, to this 8 p.m. Eastern time deadline, Iran is occupying its power plants with civilians in a move that will maximize collateral damage to civilians. They're calling for the forming of human chains to protect these power plants, telling them to bring children as well. So I guess if we do strike these, there's going to be tons of civilian deaths, which is going to be a great propaganda point for the Iranian regime. It's not going to look good for us on the world stage whatsoever, killing countless civilians, children. Although, they are stationed there by the government to protect them. We shouldn't be striking these places in the first place. It is a war crime, according to the international courts. However much power they have, completely different question, as we talk about all the time. But the most interesting part about this whole occupying power plants with civilians is President Trump has claimed this move as totally illegal. I guess he forgot the part about striking civilian infrastructure is totally illegal in his words in the first place, but now protecting them with civilians or occupying them, it won't protect them, it will just cause collateral damage, is totally illegal, according to President Trump. So it seems what he thinks is totally illegal is completely subject to his opinion at this point, which is terrifying. Probably why you shouldn't blow smoke up his ass calling him the second coming of Jesus. But I mean, you can't pick and choose what is totally illegal. Either A, both striking civilian infrastructure, power plants, bridges, and using human shields on infrastructure or on military targets, I guess in this case, are A, both totally illegal, or B, you can do both because International Criminal Court can't really do anything, so they're both legal, I guess, in your own world, but you can't pick and choose what's going to be legal and what's going to be illegal. When it helps you, it's legal. When it hurts you, it's illegal. Completely unhinged. Completely unhinged that you believe that you can pick and choose what's legal, what's illegal. But I guess that's where we are right now. Not to mention what's already been happening in Iran from Israel, and the whole time that we haven't been striking civilian infrastructure, Israel has. They've been striking energy infrastructure, civilian infrastructure such as the B1 bridge we discussed yesterday. There's the Sharif University of Technology, a college that was struck. Children's schools have been struck. Residential areas have been struck. All of these completely illegal. So, but now, occupying power plants is completely illegal as well. Then there's also yesterday the synagogue that was destroyed, bombed in Iran. I found this really confusing because the nation founded for the Jewish people is now openly attacking Jewish people in another country. Deeply troubling to me. And it makes me think that Israel, in the modern sense, doesn't protect Jewish people, but it is a power grab for people who, I guess, aren't very religious. Because if I was a Christian and I targeted a church. Well, I am a Christian, but I wouldn't go target a church in another country because I'm at war with them. I would probably refrain from that, as much as possible. Yeah. A synagogue was destroyed in Iran yesterday by the same people who go to synagogues, allegedly. And now we have today's warnings from Israel to stay off trains as it plans to strike railways in Iran. It's told the people to stay off all the trains because it's going to begin bombing civilian infrastructure and railways. The founders of the IDF proven since the British mandate of Palestine that they can blow up railways very well. So I'd be worried to see the state of Iran's infrastructure in that sense at sometime the day before 8 o'clock Eastern time. I don't know. You can't pick and choose what's legal and illegal. Either you go by the law or you don't. You don't try and pick some gray area where some facets of law apply, others don't. It doesn't work for anybody. There are discussions today between Iran and the U.S. It's being done through Pakistani mediators. But Iran has reportedly told Pakistani mediators today that their current stockpile sit at 15,000 missiles and 45,000 drones. Meaning we haven't completely crippled their military infrastructure, not in any sense. And that they're going to be able to wage this for a lot longer than anybody previously imagined. Pakistan has proposed a 2-week ceasefire between Iran and Israel and the U.S. today. This has been reported by Axios. Allegedly, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt told Axios that the president has been made aware of the proposal and a response will come. Doesn't sound very hopeful to me. I think this response is going to be bombs, it seems, at this point. I think that's cover for the heated negotiations that are currently taking place. I don't know what the negotiations are and how heated they are. But allegedly there's heated negotiations and a response will come. I guess the heated negotiations are with bombs. The response are the bombs landing. What has been reported today also that American B-52 bombers have already departed a military base in the UK, meaning they are in the air right now. We would have to call them back fully loaded somewhere, I guess, over Eastern Europe at this point, if we are to call off these attacks. They left roughly 6 hours before 8 o'clock Eastern time, whatever time it is in Iran that the deadline falls. They left 6 hours before then. It's a 6-hour flight to get there. So it seems that the decision's already been made. The interesting part about them taking off from the UK is that Keir Starmer is going to be absolutely pissed that the U.S. is bombing his future constituents, the people he actually represents. He's going to be furious, and we're probably not going to have any more access to that base anymore after we use the UK to bomb future UK constituents in Iran. So that's going to be an interesting moment. Probably another heated a heated argument between the US and the UK. But then there's what Iran has claimed will be the retaliation for tonight's strike. They say it will include but not be limited to regional oil facilities, civilian infrastructure, I guess matching what the U.S. is allegedly going to do, and targets belonging to U.S. and its allies inside of and beyond the Middle East. That's not good. Their intention is to spread this war and bring as many people in, if their threats are true, meaning that we are getting closer and closer to a global conflict, not just affecting the globe in a regional war, but letting it get outside, probably in the Europe, attempting to strike targets in Europe is what it seems that this is going to be, if the threats are true. And then, obviously, regional oil facilities. It's, 20% of the world's supply goes through the Strait of Hormuz. All these oil facilities are surrounding it, meaning we could get up to 20% of global oil disrupted from an attack tonight. 15,000 missiles, 75,000 or 45,000 drones. No, 15,000 missiles, 45,000 drones. I inflated it, my bad. That could blow up probably all the oil producing facilities in the Middle East. It definitely could. There's a lot more drones and missiles than there are oil refineries. Even fertilizer plants have been threatened to be struck, and a large number of fertilizer comes out of the Strait of Hormuz as well, meaning food shortages along with oil shortages. So this isn't, it doesn't look good at all. And then now that they're claiming they might try and bring people outside of the Middle East into it is even more so alarming, meaning that this will go from what is a regional, technically 3-nation war right now into a global conflict. So I guess so much for no new wars. No new regional wars, just World War III. Enjoy. And then there's news coming out right before the show that Iraqi protesters had stormed the Kuwaiti embassy in Basra, Iraq, in response to recent strikes on Iraq from Kuwait's borders, meaning 2 more countries could get fully involved if they can't work this out. Connecting basically Arabia to Iran, all countries getting involved, meaning, I guess technically it's a regional conflict, but it's looking more and more like a global conflict as possibly Turkey gets struck. It's looking terrible, and Turkey, I guess, NATO ally, meaning Europe gets drug into this, if NATO means anything at all anymore, which I don't believe it does. I truly don't. I think it's a waste of U.S. money and time, but what isn't a waste of U.S. money and time that we do these days? We've also got preparations taking place for tonight's impending attacks already all throughout the Middle East. You have Bahrain announcing that they will cease all activities at their main port starting tomorrow. It will already be tomorrow when this attack comes in the Middle East. So presumptively, when these strikes occur, Bahrain's main port shuts down. Kuwait has told their citizens to stay home overnight tonight, which is when these will be taking place, meaning ports in Kuwait will be shut down. Normal business as usual will be shut down. And then Saudi Arabia has closed their bridge to Bahrain already, meaning transit to and from Bahrain to Saudi Arabia is shut down already, meaning trade is shut down, commerce is shut down. There's also reports that the UK is pulling military personnel out of Iraq, and they will be canceling further deployments. So it doesn't seem like the whole call the allies to help reopen the Strait of Hormuz is going to turn out the way we thought it was. It seems that the UK is going to get out. And they'll probably cancel our lease on the air base in the UK as well because, like I said, we're bombing Keir Starmer's future constituents tonight, seemingly, if everything goes as it's going currently. I mean, yeah. Keep on refreshing, hoping, oh, we've signed some deal, but it's not turning out to, it's not showing up yet. I'll keep refreshing. But yeah, this is beginning to look like a global mess. NATO means nothing except U.S. giving Europe money. Well, duh, giving them our time and money, wasting it every single time. We go to these NATO conferences, everybody agrees to up military spending, and then nobody actually does it. It just turns out that they accept more U.S. weapons for free. I mean, an absolute scam on the American taxpayer. We're funding, not just funding the militaries of Europe, but the militaries of the Middle East, the militaries of Asia. We fund it all. I saw something earlier. It's like the U.S. pays money to 90% of countries around the world. Why don't we just fix ours instead? It seems super easy, that you could just not use the money to give the random countries across the world, but fix the potholes in your city or fix the homelessness problem, not through NGOs, but actually go in and do something at the local level, not pay, the Western United States Homelessness Development Fund that just funnels money to its executives, but, pay police officers to go out there and say, hey, you got a decision. You can either go to rehab or go to jail. You pick. It's that easy. But, why not just give, Spain a whole bunch of missiles and tanks that they won't use to help us, but instead, more than likely, eventually against us. I don't know. It would make too much sense, wouldn't it? It would just make too much sense. There's also what the FBI Cyber Division, they released a statement today. It reads, Iran-affiliated cyber actors are targeting operational technology devices across the U.S., or across U.S. critical infrastructure, including programmable logic controllers. These attacks have led to diminished programmable logic controllers functionality, manipulation of display data, and in some cases, operational disruption and financial loss. The FBI, CISA, NSA, EPA, Energy, and U.S. Cyber Command are urging U.S. organizations, especially municipalities and those in the water and energy sectors, to review the tactics, techniques, and procedures and indicators of compromise detailed in this advisory. Applying the recommended mitigations will reduce the risk of compromise. So, it looks like we're being hacked by Iran-affiliated hacker groups, disrupting American lives, technology, security, not just limited to security, but also water and energy sectors, meaning they are into, or presumptively into, how we get electricity, how we get clean water. This can't go bad at all. There's no way that them turning off the electricity for millions can go bad, or hacking into a water supply and putting in too much chemical and mass unaliving a whole bunch of people. That can't go bad at all. It seems that they are trying their best right now to engage in this asymmetrical warfare. not limited to just blowing up infrastructure, but also attacking the homeland through cyber means. I mean, I don't know that you can change the chemical composition, or not the chemical composition of water, but what chemicals are added to the water remotely, but I wouldn't be surprised. Messing with the readings, making the machine just keep putting more and more in. So it seems that this has resulted in effects on the home front, as warned by the FBI. I mean, this whole thing is getting worse and worse every single day, and we could have just never done it. We could have just said no. Just say no. It would have been a lot easier, wouldn't it? Just focused here in America, focused on our hemisphere. What would have been a lot easier, it seems, a lot safer, and now we've got energy sectors, water sectors hacked by Iran. I don't know. And now we're on the verge of global conflict, it seems. There was an easier way, and it was just to make our lives better. It's like when, I believe it was Marco Rubio said, if Iran focused its money on its people instead of waging war, all their lives would be a lot better. And it's yeah, they would be, wouldn't it? Isn't that ironic, Marco? But then we've got another report today. This one's from Reuters, and it says that physical oil prices hit record highs, reaching near $150 per barrel as the Strait of Hormuz crisis worsens. $150 per barrel of oil right now. These are the actual prices that refineries in both European and Asian countries are paying per barrel of crude oil. Not the future price, which I commonly use because it's easily accessible, but the actual price, meaning to actually get 1 barrel of oil to these places, for these places, not even refined yet, is $150. So much for $1 something gasoline. Gas is here. I drove by a gas station the other day. It was up in the 420s. We're winning. This is the golden age. This is peak America right here. And it seems it's only going to get worse. There is a supply issue right now. There's also a demand issue, and it's hitting everybody else first, but eventually it's going to come home. We're going to be the last ones hit, obviously, but it's eventually going to get around to us when other nations are willing to pay more for oil to be shipped across the Pacific, across the Atlantic. It'll eventually get here. It's just hit Europe and Asia first, and that's why they're now paying $150 for 1 barrel, per barrel of oil. Like I said, it's not the futures price, which I currently use on a day-to-day basis, which right now is $110 and some change, but the actual price is $150. I can't wait till we reach $5 a gallon gasoline. That's the golden age. That's the golden age I was expecting. But that's basically what's going on with the Iran situation today. Today being Power Plant and Bridge Day. So I guess happy Power Plant and Bridge Day, everyone. There's also people alluding that what did Trump say? Death, or a whole civilization will die tonight, as a reference to nuclear bombs, which is a completely horrifying thought. I mean, most of this is. I don't see how that results well for anybody, not just Iran, but also the U.S., for Europe. I mean, the use of a nuclear weapon by one power okays it by practice for all the others, meaning when the U.S. does it, Iran, or not Iran, but I meant Pakistan and India do it. Russia does it. Israel probably does it. But I mean, they'd probably use ours first, but let's be real here. But the nuclear warning of this is nuclear, I guess, rumors of this is absolutely absurd. It's evil. It's horrifying. But I mean, what am I going to do about it? Somebody send this to Trump. Maybe he listens to me. Highly doubt it. What was that other thing? I guess we'll get to that at the end. The whole leaker journalist that will never be prosecuted. I will get into it right now. The leaker was an Israeli journalist, and now all the calls to find the journalist have completely disappeared. It was leaked by the Israeli Ministry of Defense to the journalist, and now there's no repercussions. He won't be found, or they're not looking for him. They won't do anything to him because it's not an American. It's our greatest ally that did it. Our greatest ally was telling Iran of the plan to rescue the downed special weapons officer, leaking that information. And now the search for whoever did it has been completely called off. We don't care anymore. As long as it wasn't a U.S. person that we can try for treason, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if our allies are being treasonous to us, especially Israel. That would never matter. But yeah, the story's completely disappeared when it's been found out that it was an Israeli journalist. How funny is that? How expected is that? It's like I reported yesterday. People started deleting stuff when it was claimed that it was leaked by the Israeli Ministry of Defense. And then now it's just gone. Forget about it. Never happened. But we'll move on to the next story. I guess a couple, in a sense. But I wanted to look and see how Congress has been spending its time since getting back from their taxpayer-funded vacations. They're all taxpayer-funded because you pay them. But I wanted to see how they were, spending yesterday. Their first day back after a 2-week hiatus where they traveled the world and went to Disney World where they could chase little girls around with a princess wand. I wanted to see how they were spending their time now. Well, yesterday started out with invoking the 25th Amendment in an attempt to impeach President Trump once again. Another great expenditure of our time, truly. That's all they ever do is make great expenditures of time in Congress. I mean, let's write them a strongly worded letter together saying this is a bad idea. I mean, they always do this performative stuff, saying that, oh, this person's speech is bad. Let's spend time on this instead of actually getting things done that make Americans' lives better. I mean, why would you do that? Why would you make Americans' lives better at your job, which is solely to make Americans' lives better? Why would you do that? I mean, but yeah, another great expenditure of time, but I fear this is only foreshadowing as to what's to come next year. He will be impeached come probably January next year. I think that will be the first thing this next Congress does is impeach President Trump. Whether he will be president afterwards. I fear this time. Actually, I don't even fear anymore. I mean, if it is, whatever. If it isn't, so be it. But that they will attempt to remove him during these impeachment trials. So yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Probably one of the first few things they do when the Democrats take control of both the House and Senate will be impeaching President Trump and probably removing him. And then I guess we'll get to see JD's true colors before he attempts to run for president in 2028. We'll see how he runs things. See how his true colors shine on the big stage, and then we'll be able to get an actual president that cares about Americans, hopefully from the Republican Party afterwards. Maybe a little bit hopeful that they would care about Americans whatsoever. American lives, American interest, I think that's probably a little far-fetched. Republicans prove day in and day out that they're unwilling to do that, just as unwilling as the Democrats. So I guess my all too common thing is make sure you're getting out to your primary. I know there's some primaries today, actually. I'm not sure where, but I've heard that there are primary elections today in the United States. Make sure you're showing up, getting out the vote. If you haven't voted yet, turn the show off, get over there and watch the end of this after you're done. But make sure you're not just voting for the incumbent because, oh, I've done this job before. Have they actually done their job? Have they made your life better? If the answer to the second question is no, then the answer to the first question is also no, meaning that you should just vote for somebody else. I mean, honestly, vote for like Corn Pop as opposed to them, because they're not making your life better, and that's their one job there, is to make Americans' lives better. So make sure you're showing up to the primaries this year, this primary season. It's way more important than the general election at this point, because who we are voting for isn't even representing us whatsoever. I mean, you can just hope the next person's better, but I mean, it's still a better option than the person who has demonstrated that they do not care about you whatsoever. I mean, it's like playing Russian roulette with one bullet as opposed to having the whole 6-shooter loaded. I mean, the incumbents are the ones with the whole 6-shooter loaded. Every single one's a bullet, and you're playing Russian roulette. But if you vote for the other guy, it's only like a 1 in 6 shot that it kills you. So I guess that's my analogy of why you need to go to the primaries at this point, because they aren't representing you. They truly aren't. That's why we're going to wars for other nations, but then on top of that, instead of actually getting bills passed that will change your life for the better, we're spending our time impeaching people. But then there's a new bill on the floor it was brought to the floor yesterday. This is an important one because it demonstrates how Republicans aren't willing to do anything for their constituents. It's called the Dignity Act, also known as the Dignidad Act, Spanish for dignity. You know, when the bill is in Spanish, it's probably not good for Americans. Believe it or not, our official language is English here. I believe that was an executive order signed last year that the official language of the U.S. is English, meaning we should have no bills whatsoever titled in Spanish, but we do because we're not for Americans. This Dignity Act, whichever one you want to call it, is co-sponsored by 20 Republicans and 20 Democrats, and this has been touted as the first serious bipartisan immigration bill in decades. I figured, let's look into it. Let's see what it reads. You get right into it. I mean, first little bit. Number 1, in general, notwithstanding any other provision of law, the Secretary or the Attorney General shall adjust to the status of an alien lawfully admitted for permanent residence on a conditional basis or without the conditional basis as provided in Section 2104C2. It says an alien who is inadmissible or deportable from the United States is subject to a grant of deferred enforced departure, has temporary protected status under Section 244 of the Immigration and Nationality Act, or is the son or daughter of an alien admitted as a non-immigrant under subparagraph E1, E2, HIB, or L, or Section 101A15 of such act. Meaning they are offering now deferred deportation and work permits to undocumented immigrants that were present before December 31st, 2020. So we've gone all the way from mass deportations to offering work permits for undocumented immigrants, offering work permits to illegal aliens, offering them deferred deportation to illegal immigrants. We went from mass deportations to, well, we'll let you stay a little while, or maybe, for forever, because, we don't think you're going to do terrorism today or start an insurrection today. So we'll give you a little bit of time here. You can take some jobs away from people, take their houses. We don't really care. As long as you don't do anything more heinous than your previous illegal actions of crossing the border, we'll let you stay around for a while. We'll let you take somebody's job. We'll let you move into somebody's house that foreclosed because you took their job. I guess it's bipartisan in the sense that 20 Republicans also signed on, but is it conservative? Is it what Republicans should be allowing? No, they should stick to what they said previously, is that there will be mass deportations. But instead of mass deportations, we get a chicken out, and we get people being allowed to stay here indefinitely on work permits, giving illegal immigrants deferred deportation status. How far Republicans have fallen. Went from we're going to deport them all to we're going to let them stay for a while and take your job and your house. Possibly kill one of your family members. We'll let them do it, until they do that. It's not too bad. In the meantime of us bringing to the floor the Dignidad Act, Spanish, give me a break. But in the meantime of this, illegal immigrants are continuing to murder U.S. civilians, such as Sheridan Gorman, the 18-year-old college student who was gunned down in Chicago. Whole life ahead of her. She gets killed for walking in a park with her friends after dark. Completely unreasonable. You have the incident this week that just popped up today. It happened 5 days ago, actually. But there was a illegal immigrant who slayed a gas station clerk in Florida. Here illegally, decides that he's going to beat a gas station clerk to death with, I believe, was a crowbar. Gas station clerk probably just wanted to do their job. I believe it was a girl. She probably just wanted to do her job. Barely making money as is, but some money's better than none. And what does she get as a thank you? She gets beat to death by an illegal immigrant. At the same time that they're wanting to pass this bill to give them amnesty in America. They probably haven't even cleaned the blood out of the crime scene yet. And we're offering these people work visas, deferred deportation status. It's terrible. And these aren't isolated events. We've all heard of Laken Riley. And it just keeps on happening. It happens on a weekly basis. And we're now thinking, instead of mass deportations. We'll give them their dignidad, and we'll give them deferred deportations and work permits. I mean, absolutely ridiculous. Before the blood has dried, they want to give these people status here in America. I mean, mass deportations are nothing. We should be focused on mass deportations instead of Iran. Bring the military home. Tell them, guys, you're working with ICE today. Good luck. Clean it up. I mean, I don't know. It would have been a better option, truly. I know it's not the military's powers to act on U.S. soil unless we're invaded. However, we kind of are invaded, so there's kind of some reason there. I mean, at least Minneapolis, at least Seattle, at least Portland. I mean, at least maybe Chicago too. I mean, at least. But no, I mean, instead of enforcing the law, we're now saying, oh, you came here before December 31st, 2020. Stay forever. Have our jobs, have our houses. Take our American dream away from us. I mean, if they vote for this Dignidad Act, if your congressman, senator, representative, whoever votes in favor of this, send them packing, send them back to the private sector. They aren't serving you. They truly aren't. But that's going to be it for today. Go ahead and make sure you guys are dropping a like, following on Kick, following on Rumble, subscribing on YouTube, sharing the show, sharing this episode, sharing a different one if you think that one's more prevalent, sharing the channel in general, helping the channel grow, helping the truth of what's actually going on behind the scenes get out there. It's not too hard to find, but to the average person, it is difficult working a 9 to 5. So, share it with somebody so they can be up to date as you are with all the occurrences going on in relation to the U.S. But I guess most importantly, thank you guys for, once again, every day coming around, hanging out, talking in the chat, just watching. Viewership is the main driver of these algorithms. So most importantly, I appreciate you showing up and giving me your time, probably on your ride home from work. So I appreciate that, you guys. I truly do. The most important part, but second most important, I guess, in the algorithm sense, is liking it, along with, sharing it and bringing it to new audiences. So I appreciate everything you guys do for me in that sense. But we will move on to the good news segment. The most important news that you will ever hear in your life, the Holy Bible. We're going back to John 20. We're going to start at John 20:24 today. This is the story of Jesus coming to Thomas, meeting Thomas after he was crucified, and where he makes a non-believer a believer through actually touching him, letting him examine his wounds. But we'll start. It says, "Now Thomas, called Didymus, one of the 12, was not with the disciples when Jesus came. So the other disciples told him, 'We have seen the Lord.' But he said to them, 'Unless I see nail marks in his hands, and put my finger where the nails were, and put my hand into his side, I will not believe it.' A week later, his disciples were in the house again, and Thomas was with them. Though the doors were locked, Jesus came and stood among them and said, 'Peace be with you.' Then he said to Thomas, 'Put your finger here, see my hands. Reach out your hand and put it into my side. Stop doubting and believe.' Thomas said to him, 'My Lord and my God.' Then Jesus told him, 'Because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have seen and yet have believed. Or blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. Jesus did many other miraculous signs in the presence of his disciples, which are not recorded in this book, but these are written that you may believe that Jesus is Christ, the Son of God, and that by believing you may have life in his name. So this is how Jesus proved to a non-believer, Thomas. Probably some of you are non-believers, but this is how he proved to Thomas that he died on the cross and rose again, as he still had these wounds in his hand, the wound in his side from being speared by a Roman soldier. He proved this to a non-believer, along, as it says, other miraculous signs. But I know many of you guys probably aren't believers. I'm sure not all of you are. I guess it's my goal that you would listen to this and hopefully would at least consider it. And it's hard to be a believer. You want to see actual proof. You want to be the one that puts your hand in his side, your hand through the holes in his hands. You want to physically examine it, but it's already been done. Thomas did it for you. And then he proceeds to write about this experience in which Jesus proved to him that he was the Son of God, proved to him that he was the prophet. He did this so that you wouldn't have to, and that you can believe through his words, his experiences with Jesus, that he is the one true Savior. My testimony is nowhere great as Thomas's. Many people's aren't. Not many people had the experience of talking to Jesus, looking at his wounds, examining them, and ensuring that they were real. And it's hard, admittedly hard, for people to believe something from this long ago. But this book is the truth. These are people writing their own experiences alongside Jesus Christ, the New Testament. The New Testament is the fulfillment of the Old Testament. But there's lots of people that want the experience Thomas had, and this book is it. The Bible, the Holy Bible, is that experience. This is the opportunity for you to put your hand through the holes, through the nail marks, through where he was speared. This is your chance, the Bible. So I'd hope, you'd either open up the Bible, read it, get to know Jesus, much like I try to every single day, follow in his path, or at least at the very minimum go to church and have somebody with a little bit more knowledge, experience, explain to you that this is the one way to be saved, the one way to get to heaven, the one way to have a forever. It's the most important news, like I say often, that you'll ever get in your life. There's nothing more powerful than the truth. I say that often on the show, but the real truth is in this book. And this truth will set you free. It will give you the forever that so many people long for. Peace forever, a forever without pain, a forever without suffering. Jesus did that. Jesus experienced the pain, experienced the suffering, so you wouldn't have to, so that you could have a forever. The greatest love story the world has ever seen. Somebody giving their life so that everybody else could experience the same heaven that he did, that he does, he continues to. but I mean, there's no more powerful story, I believe, probably in the entire book than that of Resurrection Day, of Easter. So I figured I would finish off, I believe it was John 20, with you guys today, just to wrap up the entire that entire sequence, the most important sequence where Jesus rises from the dead and presents himself to his disciples and, I mean, the world, and says, I have risen, I have fulfilled the prophecy. But yeah, I mean, I hope you guys will at least consider it. I mean, I can tell you all the short-term truths this world has to offer, but there's one that'll get you a lot further than all the other ones, and that is Jesus Christ. It'll get you a lot further than, if you're a Michigan fan winning the national championship, it'll get you a lot further than if you win a war in Iran. Accepting Jesus into your life will give you much more than any of that ever will. So I hope you guys are open to the truth and open to just living your life with Jesus alongside you. It'll change your life. It truly will. Yeah, that's all I have for today. I really hope you guys will at least consider it. Consider changing your life. I know some of you are believers, but I guess the message goes out to the ones that aren't. Consider it. Consider taking the leap of faith and accepting Jesus into your life and see all the great ways it'll change, because it will. It truly will. But that's all we have for today. I'm going to make one last check and see if there's anything that has come out about this Iran situation. The title says that there was good news soon. The good news had just happened, the Bible. But it sounds, there is no actual new information. So, I don't know. Pray that this doesn't get out of hand tonight. That we don't seriously ignite World War III, is what this seemingly looks like. Just putting a bow on the episode, there's video coming out of a illegal immigrant from El Salvador trying to run over an ICE agent. Israel's already struck Iran's largest aluminum producer before the 8 p.m. deadline, because apparently they just couldn't wait. So this is, everything's getting out of hand. Accept Jesus into your life. That's the only way out of it. And that's all we have for today, so we'll sign off here. Make sure you guys are dropping a like, following, subscribing, whatever you're on. Thanks for sticking around till the end. If you stuck around to the end, you get some small little updates as to what's going on. But yeah, we'll sign off here. To all my people on the East Coast, I hope you get home safe. To my people further west, I hope you finish up your workday strong and get home safe as well. We'll be back tomorrow, hopefully at 4:45. I've got a couple meetings tomorrow, but they shouldn't get in the way of this episode, or tomorrow's episode, sorry. But I'll see you guys then. I guess we'll see whether Trump chicken's out, or we had a rather unhappy power plant and bridge day. Well, I guess we'll all have to find out together. Well, we'll find out overnight for sure, but we'll talk about it tomorrow. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys very, very soon. Whoops.